How's it going today, my friends? My name's Carpo, and this video is the CBD Ripoff Report ADDENUM, I suppose. Now, I have several thousand videos on my YouTube channel, but on my top few, I think my third or fourth most viewed is one I made exactly 4 years ago in October. It was called the CBD Ripoff Report, and unfortunately the video was poorly done because I had a lot of fans going. I was in my grow room at the time, and back then I was growing a strain called Harlequin Tsunami, which is a high CBD strain. It was 12 to 14% CBD and less than 1% THC. It was a phenomenal plant, and at the time I was very much into sharing as much information as I could about CBD. Unfortunately, it's gotten to the point now where instead of sharing information about the benefits of CBD or the potential for it, now I have to continue to make rip-off reports saying, look, there's a bunch of products out there that don't do a damn thing. And I'm not going to shame any particular companies because it's not worth the time, but I want to talk about dosages. I want to talk about why CBD products like pillowcases and lotions can be complete bullshit, and let's just get right into it. First off, most of the products on the market have a very weak dosage compared to what have been shown to be therapeutic dosage. If we want to get to the very root of CBD, we should go to the scientific studies, right? The trials that have been done. There are very few. You're welcome to look them up yourselves. They have found that they have anxiolytic or anxiety-reducing effects in some people with certain doses. Some of the anxiety-reducing dosages have been in the, say, 3 to 500 milligram range. Whereas, so that would be, 30 to 50 times more than is found in your average CBD gummy treat or, even a CBD water, which could be like 10 milligrams. Just like with THC, that can be the standard dose. And even if it's higher, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting the full bioavailability and absorbing it all. But also, it doesn't necessarily mean that what's on the bottle is what's in there. And so, this all started back in the day with like Charlotte's Web, a strain that was grown for a kid who, had seizures. This kid wasn't expected to live more than a year and is still alive and well, and the seizures have been controlled by nothing but CBD. It was a phenomenal story. It was all over the news years ago, and it's what led to this, partially, one of the stories that led to this boom in CBD, I guess, interest by people. When the Farm Bill was passed a couple of years ago, it allowed farmers to grow hemp. And so there are a lot of farmers who used to grow soybeans in the South who are now growing hemp, who are switching right over because, of course, the soybean, there are, tariffs on soybeans. China's not buying them. It's a huge, huge catastrophe down there. But when it comes to hemp, there's a profit to be made. The minute the hemp became, a commodity in the U.S., there were unscrupulous vendors who were willing to buy right into it. Some of these people who had been in the cannabis industry for years, some of them who had never even touched cannabis before, or never even heard of it, or people who were opposed to it. So what do we have on the market today? There's one thing between taking a CBD product for, its intended dose or an experiment with, 500 milligrams to a full gram sometimes of dosage. 1,500 milligrams or up to 3 full grams of CBD were used in some of the clinical trials for, say, cancer. And a lot of people are hinting around it. Oh, it'll help people with cancer. You need to take much bigger dosages than are being given to you on the market. But I'm not going to go into that aspect. There's not enough research to even show exactly how it works. And although it's not psychoactive in its own right, CBD, it does interact with other chemicals and compounds in your body, and it may actually have effects for some people depending on your, your body chemistry. But it was one thing when they were selling CBD in foods. Now it's difficult because the FDA doesn't allow it to be sold in foods. So there are people who are doing it, of course, and in legal states you can do that, but in illegal states you have to stick to like salves and creams. The minute that they started putting it up in Walgreens and Bed Bath & Beyond is when it was time to speak up again. They have salves and creams and lotions. Do they work? Maybe. Topically applied, CBD does seem to have some anti-inflammatory and pain-killing properties. So people who have maybe pain close to the surface or muscular issues, perhaps CBD may help. So we'll set that one aside. What about shampoo? Well, That sounds like bullshit to me. What about mascara? Now, mascara with CBD absolutely makes no sense, but they do have it. People are making it. Bath bombs. How much CBD would you have to put in a bath bomb to get any real benefit? See, we're getting into these, people start bringing up omegas and how it's good for your skin and good for your hair. That has nothing to do with CBD. It's completely different. And hemp oil has been available for a long time, so it's not like this is, or hemp seed oil rather. And when you're buying and you see hemp oil and hemp seed oil, they're completely different things. Hemp seed oil generally has no CBD in it, where hemp oil could. So what else are they selling? Water. Okay, this was the one that really inspired me to make this. It's a 24 pack of water bottles. Okay, they have 10 milligrams of CBD per bottle, and it's $108 for a 24 pack of these water bottles. $108 on sale. So I started thinking about this. I wanted to do the math for you so you could kind of see where I'm coming from, because if a person doesn't know the cannabis industry, it's really hard to explain. This right here is a bag of my CBD bud that I grew years ago. It's about 96 grams. Just do the math really quickly. It's about 96 grams, 12 to 14% CBD. So if I were to extract the CBD out of this, it would be approximately 10 grams of CBD. So I wanted to get it to 10 so I could do the math simple. 10 grams of CBD is, well, 10 milligrams is what's in the average dose. So therefore that would be 1,000 doses in this. Okay, so times $5, let's say, per dose. Could be a lot cheaper, could be more. In other words, it says that this bag would be worth $5,000. Now that's assuming that all the dosages are correct. These are some of the CBD capsules that I make for myself. They're 100 milligrams each of CBD and 100 milligrams of THC. And that's 10 times like what the average, food or water or treat is. The absurdity of taking such small amounts of CBD, especially when it's legal, is to me just a ripoff, a plain ripoff. And I could be wrong. Perhaps there's a cumulative effect over time if you're taking small doses of CBD, but for the price, it's ridiculous. Because if this is worth $5,000, honestly, even when cannabis was illegal, 100%, this was still only worth a few $100. So it's 10 times what it was worth when it was illegal, yet it's legal now. Well, this is actually not a hemp, this is cannabis, so therefore it has a full spectrum. There's some THC, some CBN, a whole variety of different cannabinoids in there. And much of the stuff on the market today is basically CBD isolate. So it's isolated from the plant and then it's put into a product. There have been studies showing that CBD isolate is not nearly as effective as what they call the entourage effect of the whole plant medicine. And this is where it gets technical, and I won't go into detail, but there was a study done in Israel a few years back where they found out that CBD would only reach a certain level in the body to fight whatever condition they were checking. I can't remember if it was fighting cancer cells or whatnot, but taking the whole plant extract along with THC and the other cannabinoids somehow boosted the amount that the body could hold of, or the cells could contain of the CBD. Basically, the body has a cutoff point unless you have other cannabinoids to help it boost up to where your body can absorb more. There's a reason why the whole plant grows alongside us. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you believe nature is aware or conscious, but we are all entwined with these plants, and they've grown alongside us. And so we've had a lot of issues in the past isolating single compounds. And so there's a lot of money to be made off of people who don't know any better. It doesn't mean CBD doesn't work, but there's a huge issue with placebo effect that has to be addressed. If you take something, even sugar pill, it will often have an effect or appear to have an effect. And so if it works, a lot of people say so be it. And I can agree with that. But with the price of what they're charging for these products, I think it's a little ridiculous. Not only the synergy with the other cannabinoids and the entourage effect of the whole plant, but there are also terpenes which are missing. And often these terpenes are being added back in. Terpenes are the aromatic compounds or the essential oils that you smell when you smell different types of cannabis, or a citrus fruit, or a banana, or anything else. But there's also fatty acids and a whole variety of other compounds in the plant that we don't know quite how they work. And I still believe that a sublingual or oral administration of these would be the most effective But, you know, of course people are going to sell it in sports drinks, creams, and Bed Bath & Beyond is even selling a room diffuser with CBD, is what I heard. I mean, come on. You've got to, if you're going to take medicine, it would be like, somebody put it like saying, oh, well, you get a Prozac diffuser for your room, or here's some Prozac lotion. You know, whatever the medicine may be that you're taking, it's not something that you just throw in every product just because it's legal now and everybody will buy it. I mean, I see CBD. I walked into the vape store this morning and I looked down and I just laughed. There was CBD sublingual strips. And I was like, dude, I mean, how effective can those really be? You know, I don't know. Maybe they are. But who knows what else is in there? I have no idea. There was an issue with some CBD products that were recalled because they were tainted with a synthetic cannabinoid, and that scares the shit out of me. So they could maybe have a... There's a lot... It's the Wild West out there. And this is where it gets very difficult. Do we regulate? Should we allow FDA or anyone else to step in and do something? I mean, I despise the FDA for what they've done to kratom and other plants and the lobbyists involved, but the question is, have they protected us in the past? Of course. In certain situations, you know, there have been a lot of people selling really bad products out there. We should be able to control it, but it's very difficult to do as individuals, and that's why we hire these government agencies to do it, right? But if you want to know how bad the CBD market really gets, there's a company, I can't remember, something Threads, they're selling CBD pillowcases and sheets now. So think about this for a minute. If that company is out there and they happen to come across this, please explain how your CBD pillowcases work, because to me this just sounds ridiculous. It's so absurd and beyond it. You know, I've been a cannabis advocate for 30 years, almost 30 years. I've been smoking cannabis for about, 28 years. And when I was in high school, I wrote a report in my junior or senior year. My report was about cannabis, and it was like 15 pages long, and I did it without even looking at books because I was so into cannabis back then, and there was so little information about it that I pretty much knew it all. And so much has come forward since then. So many different compounds, and there's so much more to learn. But even with all the things I've learned, I still have no reason to believe that these products are legitimate. These CBD, diffusers or pillowcases do anything. And not enough research to show that the dosages that they're showing online are actually effective for anything. So, yes, there is also lubricant with CBD. There are suppositories. And I'd like to leave you with some of the bullshit marketing techniques these companies use. Because I'm not saying that there aren't CBD products that are legitimate, but I'm saying that the dosages are pretty much worthless in my opinion until they start getting up into the heavy ranges. Like 10,000 milligrams per bottle, so you can actually get what you need, because that's what it should be. There is the water I was telling you about, this CBD water. On the site, I went to the website and I checked it out, and I looked at their description, because I wanted to know how much was in there. Their description, rather than saying 10 milligrams per bottle, they say there are 10 million nanograms of nano CBD per bottle. So let me repeat that. They say there's 10 million nanograms of nano CBD. So I had to look up nano CBD, and all that means is just fancy marketing bullshit for saying it's suspended in a liquid. Okay. Nanograms, that's a billionth of a gram, okay? So, I mean, micrograms and nanograms, you get down into some very small amounts. So 10 million nanograms really just means 10 milligrams, which is 1/100th of a gram. It's that simple. And like I said, some of the dosages for actually doing, medicinal work are around a gram. So you're taking 1/100th of a dosage that's actually effective. Now, I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade here, and I'm sure there are some companies out there, somebody out there who's selling one of these products who probably watches this video and thinks, oh, what a dick, he's full of shit, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I urge you to leave a comment explaining why 10 milligrams of CBD has any real effect, or what studies have been done to show that it's effective, and if it is shown to be effective in these tiny doses, do we have tests for bioavailability? How much is your body absorbing? What other research has been done? Is it an isolate? A lot of companies won't even tell you if it's from hemp or what it's from. And the levels of THC are an issue for some people because they can be higher than are claimed on the bottle, which happens. But that's not really the main issue. In fact, that's probably better that there's a little THC to help the CBD. But for some people, that can mean the difference between losing their job or their freedom, because a dirty drug test can be a big problem. I'd love to be a supporter of all these products, and I'm a huge supporter of cannabis. I'm an advocate, I always have been, and I've always been a huge supporter of hemp, and I'm really glad that it's moving forward. But I also see what's happening. It's being dominated. Next thing you know, Monsanto is going to own all the rights to the hemp. I would not be the least bit surprised. But be aware, and be a wary consumer. Just because something says CBD does not mean anything at all. You have to do your research on the companies and the products themselves. So I would urge you to do that. And I hope this saves somebody a few bucks. Because, you know, I'm not trying to talk bad about vendors. A lot of people think the products they're selling are great. A lot of people contact me. I've had vendors contact me that sell CBD and say, "Oh, will you sell it? Will you sponsor our product and we'll send you free product?" I'm like, "No, I won't. I won't know, you know, I'll try it out, maybe." I have the same thing with kratom vendors and everything else. You know, everybody wants you to sell their product, but you realize that there are producers and there are consumers. And in between there is not just a merchant. There are these you know, what are they? The merchants that they're basically product commodity exchangers. You know, it goes through several different hands before it gets to yours, and everybody's making a buck off of you. And this is why it's important to get product directly to consumer, and we need to work on that more in the future. But also that puts, you have to make sure that vendor has, you know, a reliable communication skills, that you're able to actually, you know, because a lot of these people, they won't answer questions, they'll just shut you down. They're out to make a buck, and they don't give a damn whether their product really contains CBD or not. And when several products were taken off the shelves to do testing, I believe only I think 40% were far below the stated amount of CBD on the bottle, and many of them had no CBD whatsoever. So be aware, be smart. You won't know just by trying it, and not that easily, especially not at those doses. So more is going to be learned over the future, and hopefully I'll be able to present another video in a couple of years, maybe with a lighter side, you know, maybe, you know, because there are good products out there. I'm not going to promote any particular products on this video, or I don't do product placement or any of that shit. So you'll have to figure that out on your own, because that would compromise my integrity as speaking neutrally on the subject. Like I said, I'm a CBD supporter. Got a bunch of CBD right here, and I love it. It has a nice effect. CBD itself can balance out THC, and I prefer it in its flower form, but it may not be accessible where you live. So, and this is not the same as the hemp flower that you can buy anywhere now. I'm a little wary about that, but yeah, you'll have to experiment on your own for that one. Thanks for listening. Hope this helps a few people save a few bucks. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Take care.